Hi everybody, thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is David. This channel is DeMars Coaching, and today's video is about people with borderline personality disorder and some of the good traits, good qualities about them that I have come across, that I've heard of and experienced myself. I've known many people diagnosed with this disorder and probably some people undiagnosed with this disorder. So I have a lot of experience with people with this, and also a lot of experience with people who have had their own experiences with people with this disorder. So let's get into it, because all my videos are typically about negative qualities and traits about people and mental illness. So I thought it'd be good to do this. Of all the personality disorders, out of all 10, the one that I talk about the most, that gets the most reaction, is borderline. And it's from people with the disorder happen to watch my videos. And I'm glad they do. Thank you. But when I say anything negative about it, the disorder, they don't care for that. And they say that it's not them. And I want to be clear that I'm not labeling people and saying people with this disorder are always this or always that, because it's not true. And that is kind of what today's video is about, is that people are so multifaceted, okay? And so there's no just bad qualities about anybody, I don't think. Even some of the worst people that we deem as the worst evil people in the world get into people's lives because they're nice and charming. You know, maybe good looking, maybe positive, maybe successful, okay? And so today's video is about this, about how multifaceted people are, specifically people with borderline personality disorder. And like everybody, you could say nobody's good or bad, or we're all good and bad, okay? I got to be clear on that. And the more we may be abused or traumatized from people with this disorder specifically, the maybe worse negative connotations we have and feelings we have towards them in general. So people are multifaceted, and people do good things and bad things, okay? This is not to excuse bad behavior whatsoever, but it's to understand why we're so confused about somebody we love so much, and we also are so hurt by them, and maybe so angry at them, maybe have hatred, maybe want revenge, things like this about somebody that we care for. It's confusing, isn't it? So let's be very clear right from the beginning. It's behaviors we can't accept about people. And so instead of labeling people good or bad, let's accept that people are all good and bad, or at least do good and bad things. And it's the bad things, bad behaviors we can't accept in our life. We all have needs, period. We all have needs. And emotional needs are the most important. I know I talk about them a lot in my videos because they're the most important thing to us. Maybe not to some of you watching the video right now, but believe it or not, it's the most important thing to all of us. And meeting our emotional needs in relationships is how we get what we need. We have needs we need to meet ourselves, but we have to have relationships with people where we have our needs met. Have to. And this is the difficult part that borderlines have trouble in, that every person with a personality disorder has troubles in, is meeting other people's emotional needs. When you fully understand what your needs are, you'll understand this, that some people maybe even are incapable of meeting your emotional needs. Common theme, very, very common theme that we have with people with borderline personality disorder is that we feel sorry for them. We feel sorry for them. I believe we identify with their pain. Why doesn't everybody feel sorry for them? Why is it only people with a background of neglect or abuse? Because we have been victimized, and it's not just relating to that, relationship, right? And we may identify with this. Codependency, which is a word a lot of people don't like, let's call it whatever you want. They're just behaviors. And it is profound in borderline relationships with borderlines. And it takes two. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand this because they're doing something so extremely opposite than what you're doing. But both of you together, the become dependent on each other. And I'll get that in a second. So, some of the endearing qualities, and I'm not going to talk about bad things. Like I said, I've done that in my videos. And not every borderline does these bad things, okay? But something about now this isn't all borderlines. Borderlines tend to obsess. Borderlines tend to, could be rigid, and when they get focused on something, they may never stop doing that. Now, it's also another trait that they may not follow through and finish things. But as far as relationships go, they may not give up easily. Okay? They will stick with you sometimes for a very long time, if not forever, and accept your problems and accept your mistakes and your flaws. They will. Most common. Not to say that later some will start ridiculing you for these things. Okay, I'm talking about the good traits and good qualities, and this is what's important. This is what's really important, is that we all have good and bad qualities, right? We all do good and bad things, right? But there's a certain amount of stability that people that aren't psychotic or have personality disorders have. Okay, and that stability helps you understand who somebody is and helps you feel secure around them and safe. Somebody who's very unstable and can go from good and bad to bad, back to good and back to bad again in a minute is, well, could be dangerous. Could help make you feel insecure. But, you know, it's something I hear a lot, is that borderlines, and something I've experienced, they'll stay with you. And they'll accept a lot of things about you that maybe a lot of other people may not. And maybe, I don't know if that's in the end, a good or healthy thing, right? You could be a drug addict and they may accept that. Is that good? I don't know. But the feeling of having somebody accept you for your shortcomings and insecurities and stuff like this, willing to work with you, we're going to get better together, right? Borderlines can be extremely thoughtful. They will get attached to you and they will be protective of you. They might be nurturing and caring. Don't forget, this is codependency. And they come from a place, most of trauma, neglect, and abuse. And they may be unstable themselves and focus on other people more, the codependent. So they might be completely all about you. And the idealization stage starts right there, right? And the things that they like about you are genuine. This isn't a psychopath just telling you things to get in your life just to get what they want. This is a borderline that even if they do exploit and abuse, most of them aren't as conscious or aware of that they're doing it. But they'll stick with you. And they will care for you, typically. And this is what makes it so hard when it ends. They can be caring, thoughtful, passionate. Really, really, really passionate about something they want, something they want to do, something they want to do for you. They love to serve others. Very much. You may find massive people with this disorder in charities, stuff like this. Servicing people, dogs, children, old people, for free, if they can. They can be empathetic. One thing it's cringy, is when people just label everybody with narcissistic personality disorder. And it's really hard to do that from anybody because everybody's narcissistic. And so then you're just hating on someone being a little different from you and having a mental illness. It's the behaviors, guys. The behaviors. Stop labeling and judging people as good or bad. It's impossible. Show me someone that's only good or only bad. And I'll say, you're being fooled. You're fooled. They can be fun. Oh yeah. Now I know that sometimes they cannot be. And some aren't fun at all. Borderlines can also be total stick in the muds. But the ones I've known, fun, exciting, try anything. Companionship. Companionship is huge. Be with you every day. Come over all the time. Want you over there. They want to stay. They don't want to leave. Clean your place while they're over there. Do cute, nice, fun things, notes, stuff like this. We can admire them. People who have endured abuse and trauma, no matter how they turn out, most likely are very interesting people. We are a product of our experiences and what we choose to do with them. And that typically becomes who we are. But whatever we choose, still those experiences can make a person very interesting. It can make them very independent about some things. You know, borderlines, you can have such a dysfunctional, emotionally dysfunctional borderline that's so unstable that the relationships are on or off and on and off, and they move 2-3 times a year. But my gosh, they graduated from Harvard and have a law degree and have their own business and is totally successful. Making 6 figures a year, balancing money well. Bizarre. Even though a common trait of a borderline would be that they went to Harvard and never finished the last credit. And what happens in a relationship, and I was talking about why it's so hard when it ends. A codependent attachment, when it's over, is like losing a part of yourself. You become, grief is so difficult because when we're with somebody and they're just gone, especially if they're with us all the time, live together, married, gone, we're stuck with ourselves here, and we look at ourselves and introspect. It becomes difficult. It hurts. It can be scary. But the codependent is the attachment is so enmeshed, and when we lose somebody, we lose a part of ourselves. And so the key word in a relationship with someone with this disorder is autonomy. And the blurred lines and responsibilities and accountability is what ruins relationships typically. We identify with them. We care for them. We admire them. We love them. And the problem is with a personality disorder, it's severe mental illness, and life can be very difficult for them. And life's not easy for anybody. So here we are living our difficult life, and we have a partner that cannot live their difficult life. And we typically spend a lot of, or more, focus and time and energy and love on them over ourselves. Biggest problem. Boundaries. Being aware of how you feel, what you need, what you want, what you value, and keeping those things in your life with a relationship, in a relationship with somebody. And someone with a disorder like this just makes it extremely difficult. But maybe not impossible. I just made a video. I think the last video I made was, can you have a relationship with a borderline? Of course you can have a relationship with anybody. And it's not fair to say, can you have a relationship with someone with any kind of problem or disorder? We all have problems and disorders. And it's, that would be a specific question about a specific person, not a label or a classification of people. We become, in a dependent relationship with a borderline, we typically become too invested. Okay? And so the blurred lines You know, it could be anything from helping them with school, giving them rides, money, attention, time. Just, I mean, gosh, it could be anything that you're spending so much time and attention and focus and energy and love for another person and losing yourself. Because, like, again, life's not easy. And so the best way to make life more difficult is to completely don't do anything for your life anymore. Responsibilities just kind of go to the side. And then when we lose people like this, it's devastating. I often refer to losing someone with borderline personality disorder, losing that relationship. I wonder if it's kind of like losing a child, not to take away the pain from any parent who's lost a child. But that kind of responsibility that we have for another adult is devastating when we lose them. I know. I think it's easier when if you want to compare borderline and narcissist, when you realize that you were never emotionally connected to a narcissist, that what they were showing you was consciously lying to you, and then you realize that borderline, what they're doing is way, way less conscious of it, and they're really trying to survive. There's not much of a comparison to the two. Bad behaviors, sure. There's some definitely similar bad behaviors. Abuse is abuse. Let me know what you guys think of today's video. Please always ask questions down below because I'll always answer them. I really love your guys' examples of your own experiences. I think they really help others. There's no two experiences that are the same, but there are millions that are alike. Thanks, guys. Love yourself first. I'll see you again.